very pleased to be here this evening and discuss different topics with you. We do ask that you would be courteous, not interrupt, no yelling and screaming. Just what we typically do at our town halls is we line up here and, not yet, Kathy. We line up, Kathy wants to be first. So, so we line up just in a line, and I'll give you about a minute to ask your question or make your comment, and then he will return a comment back to you. But right now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our 53rd Lieutenant Governor, Micah Beckwith.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, it's good to be with you all. Thank you for being here. Again, I'm Micah Beckwith, and happy to take questions, hear comments, concerns. We do these town halls because we want to give you guys a chance to let your voices be heard with whatever's going on. You can ask anything you want to ask. You can, say whatever you want to say. Happy to listen, and then I'll give you my perspective. I'll give you my honest feedback, and then if there's something we can do to help you, my team and I will go back to the State House and fight for whatever it is that maybe we can do on your behalf. So happy to be here again. And before we start taking questions, can we just all put it to rest? Is it Vigo or Vigo? That's what I've been saying. I heard somebody the other day say Vigo. I'm like, I think it's Vigo. I think it's Vigo County. Good. I'm glad. I was right. It's named after Francis. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, it's been settled by actual residents of this county, because I don't like it when the rest of the state tells you guys how to call your own county by name. So, all right, good. Vigo County, happy to be here. All right, so who's got questions, comments, concerns? Cassie, come on up, Cassie. So, okay.
I was just going to make sure you hold the mic up. So, yes, if you have questions or comments, go ahead and just line up here.
Hi, Micah. Good to see you. Sorry,
You too,
I know
Cassie.
you're older than time. So Mike and I chatted really quick before this, because one of my first comments was going to be related to recent news articles that came out that were retweeted by Micah's staff related to the Sher Foundation Baptist Church, who has called for the execution and suicide of the LGBTQI community. Thank you, Micah, for talking with me before that. Micah's denouncing that. He's saying that he does not feel that way, and that his staff, well, quite frankly, I think his staff made an overstep. And Micah, I know that there's a part of your transition team, a large part maybe, that we're friends, but please consider, right? Like, friends may not be the best ones to be in charge of this social media, because, perception, can be reality for a lot of people. And I appreciate you coming out and denouncing that specific hate against the LGBTQI community. She says, do I have a question? I do.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm just going to say right now that absolutely there is no place for violence against any person, whether your ideology, however you identify. I've always been somebody who says, listen, I can disagree with maybe a lifestyle, but you're made in the image of God. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Every human being has value because I believe we all are image bearers, the Imago Dei, right? So I think that's first and foremost. So absolutely. So, thanks.
Thank you for clarifying that. My question is, point blank, why did you fire Aaron Sheridan? And I know you're going to be like, I can't go into that.
I can go into it.
Okay, thank you.
No, absolutely. So Erin was great for our transition. She had institutional knowledge to help get us through the session. That's why we brought her on staff, because she had worked with previous lieutenant governors. Oh, is it not? Okay. It's not super loud. All right. Okay, here we go. So Erin is still a friend. I consider Erin a friend. We just there wasn't a need for that position anymore. And so I was looking at it and saying, it's not really, if we needed that job, she'd still be there. But got to a point where we realized, I don't think this is a necessary position, and we want to make sure that we're stewarding tax dollars well. And if we don't need it, we don't need to keep paying somebody to be in that position. So we're not going to we're not rehiring. It's not like we're saying, hey, she's gone. It's just that position. She was a senior advisor and really a legislative director. So she was actually helping us walk through sort of the legislative process, which we needed that first 4 months, stepping in, and it's session time. I was drinking from a fire hydrant. We needed somebody that kind of knew the process, and she did a good job with that. And so it just was kind of.
Thank you for answering that.
No problem.
So as you know, in the news media, what's going around is that potentially it's been implicated that she has released a dark video about another lawmaker's wife, which is horrendous. If anyone's doing that, it's disgusting, by the way. And if people can catch who are doing that, it's disgusting. But do you have anything to comment on if you believe she was the one that did that, and or
Well, I
or
don't-
like, because you also followed up with, it's a fireable offense to look at porn at work, as it
That's
should
right,
be,
absolutely.
right?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
So was that kind of something that went into that with
Yeah,
this
we did.
video? Is it around? Is it not? Like,
No, I've never seen the video, this alleged video. It all goes back to one person's, account that, hey, this happened, right?
Okay, so you found the account it was linked back to?
No, I'm sorry. This
Sorry.
one person's, she said that this happened,
Okay.
right? Okay, so we investigated this because the allegations were somebody in our office was looking at a deep fake video, pornographic material on it back in April, okay? First I ever heard about it was this weekend. So we
Okay.
investigated, we looked into it. There's no evidence, any way, shape, or form that it actually ever happened.
Got it.
And so we went through all.
This was like forensic computer evidence you
Well,
went through back with.
There's no, yeah, I mean,
Like
we
you went-
checked
Got it.
email records. We said, okay, is there a video around? Can we find a video? Nobody knew what the video was. Like, so I think it's a lot of, just it's baseless allegations. And if you saw the story was all, well, we have anonymous sources, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, who are the sources? Well, they wouldn't tell me, right? Well,
You
yeah.
can see how when Aaron gets fired, that it's kind of like everybody's looking at like, well, that kind of may be the source,
Could be,
you know?
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you're not confirming or.
No, I mean, I don't know
But-
who the source. I would imagine that it could be. That's a great. Again, like Aaron, that's where my mind goes. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you. But all that to say, there's nothing there. And again, if there was, or if there ever is, if we find out that actually, yeah, people will get fired
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
I'm
Kat.
gonna have
Those
to
are
go to
good.
the end,
Those
but
are
I'm
good.
gonna do a Jesus question next.
Okay,
I know you
next
love
time around,
those.
Jesus question. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Cassie. Hi, Susan.
Hi,
How are you?
Thank
Good.
you for coming.
Yes.
We appreciate
I'm
it.
happy to be here.
And I wanted to share our conversation that we had
Yes,
earlier.
please.
Of course, we are fighting a company called Wabash Valley Resources, and they are planning on injecting supercritical CO2 out in our community. And in the process of all this, they have spent many hours, months, years over at our state house getting laws passed in their favor to basically steal our land. My farm, I inherited it from my family. It's been in there for 200 years.
That's awesome.
I am supposed to be the steward of this land now, which I plan on doing. And I made a promise to my dad. It would never be sold. It would be handed down to my children and her children. It's a small farm. It doesn't make money, but that's not the point of our ground. It's about our attachment.
Your heritage.
Exactly. So the point being is, this company is wanting to do what they call carbon sequestration, which means injecting high-pressure CO2 under our ground and use eminent domain. And I want to know, how do you feel about that? Does a private company have the right to take our land
No.
to make money? And we feel it is not, and we need help, we need your help, and we need laws to be rescinded to protect us.
Yeah. So I agree with that, Susan. So let me break it down. First and foremost, we're talking about local control. I'm a huge supporter of local control. We stopped a really bad bill this past session that was going to basically strip local control from counties. I believe you guys, as Vigo County residents, should elect the people that you wanted to elect to do the things you want to do in Vigo County. And I'm sorry if it stops the counties, north and south of you from being able to do something. Well, too bad. It's your county, right? And I don't want the state coming into Vigo County telling you how to act. In the same way, I don't want Washington coming into Indianapolis telling us what to do, right? And so you always hear at the State House, lawmakers will say, well, we don't want Washington telling us what to do. But then a lot of those same lawmakers will then try to go into counties and tell those counties what to do. I'm like, guys, see the hypocrisy here? Like, hello. And so I'm a huge defender of local control. I'm also a very, very staunch critic of eminent domain. Now, there's a time and place for it. I understand it, but it's rare occasions, right? It needs to be very much laid out. This is for the public good, and here's how and why. And then the people who that property belongs to should be paid fair market value to go through the process. So, and anytime someone says eminent domain, I'm always going to have a knee-jerk reaction. I'm going to say, I've seen it abused far too much, and I've seen it abused more than actually not abused, right? And so, that's my thing on eminent domain. That's where I believe. Now, when it comes to carbon sequestration, let me address that. I think it's nonsense science. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I know God created this world. He did. He did. I mean, we'll get into that. God created this world. CO2 is good for the plants. It's good for our crops. I grew up in the dairy world. If you would like to, ask questions, Cassie,
Cassie.
So, Cassie, okay, so.
Don't.
So I believe that God created this world, and the CO2 does exactly what it's supposed to be doing in the atmosphere, right? And the Trump administration just said last week that it's not a pollutant anymore. It's not a greenhouse gas. So why are we pumping it into the ground? To me, that is absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Cassie.
So.
Cassie, if you're going to be disruptive.
So again, I think projects like the Wabash Valley Resource Project are potentially good projects for the ammonia, the hydrogen, things like that. That will be. But don't use CO2 sequestration as the basis to bring this project in, right? To me, that's absolute just green New Deal nonsense. So yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing. The thing of it is, it's not just about eminent domain. This literally puts my community, my family, our children at risk. And I don't know, I think we are worth something. Yeah. We are worth a lot. And the fact that the State House would take laws and twist them and turn them and put my community in jeopardy, it's unforgivable. Yeah. It's unforgivable.
I want to make sure that we're defending your farmland. We're defending your right to own farmland and to pass it on to your children and children's children.
Thank you.
We're losing a lot of farmland to a lot of this, again, solar, wind, carbon sequestration, again, all Green New Deal nonsense science, right?
Thank you so much.
And we're using taxpayer dollars to do it, and it's technology. Even if you think it is somehow, Green New Deal is something that is worthwhile, we're investing, let's just take wind and solar, we're investing billions upon billions of dollars of taxpayer money into technology that they say it's going to take 20 to 30 years to recoup the investment. Do you understand how technology works? The phone you have in your pocket right now, the phone you're using to record me with, you didn't have that 20 years ago. Think about that. 20 years from now, what's the technology going to look like in this field? We don't know. But I can tell you, the technology today is going to be outdated. And we're investing billions of dollars into that? That doesn't make any common sense to me. And to me, that's... Oh, I've checked it. I've rechecked it, and I've checked it again. So again, that's what I believe, and that's what I'm going to keep fighting against that.
And I do thank you for coming here, and I thank you for listening to us. But I'm telling you, this will affect everybody in this audience, because the thing of it is, if it goes wrong and it gets into our aquifer, water is the most precious thing too.
Sure.
So it will affect every one of you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate it. Hello,
Hi.
Susan's daughter.
Hi. I'm Whitney.
Whitney, nice to meet you.
And so I have two kind of points that I want to bring up. The first is with the carbon sequestration rules that the DNR is bringing forth and hoping to get signatures on very, very, very soon. I went to the hearings and I went to the NRC meeting. And I was told after the NRC meeting that basically any information that we as citizens brought forth, any statistics, any scientific facts or data didn't matter because they were coming from us. And that we needed someone with a title behind their name to bring our concerns forth. Otherwise, our information would just have to be verified, and they didn't have the time for that. So
you weren't an expert, right? You weren't an expert. I've heard that a lot in the last 5 years. Ooh, let the experts decide, right? How'd that work out for us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, someone who does have a title behind their name, to bring these concerns forward. And so one of the major concerns is with eminent domain, first off, that Wabash Valley Resources, unlike any other carbon sequestration plot, and I say plot purposefully in the state, they only have to get 60% of their pore space voluntarily before they can use eminent domain to take the rest of it. Now, the DNR has tried to tell me repeatedly that there are processes in place for eminent domain, but no one that I have talked to at the State House, at the NRC, at the DNR has been able to tell me how that information is going to be collected, what type of documentation they're going to use, who's going to verify it, how it's going to be sent back to the landowners so that they can verify that their answer was correctly recorded. And when I brought this up to them, even after the NRC meeting, the statement that I got was, after I was told that my concerns didn't matter, was that, well, it's all just so new that we don't really know. And so I said to them, if you don't know, if the government who is supposed to be regulating this doesn't know, then why are we doing it? How can the citizens, how can our community trust that it's going to be done legally and above board if everything leading up to that point has been done under the cover of darkness? So how can we go about getting that verification in place?
It's a great question. We'll have our team look into that, because you have a right to know. That's a really fair question. I mean, that's not a controversial ask. That's just saying, hey, we want to know how you're collecting the data. We want to know where you're getting it from, and we want to know how it's accurate. And so we'll have if you can connect, there's Anthony right there, Anthony from my team. If you connect with him afterwards and just get your info to him, we'll call DNR tomorrow, and we'll start knocking down some of those doors to say, hey, they want to know how you're collecting this data, and they have a right to know. I mean, it's their property. So that's a pretty easy thing I think we can figure out for you. So yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Whitney. Yeah.
And then I had one more thing.
Okay.
I'm also a school teacher in the area, and these carbon dump sites are going to be very, very close to elementary schools. In fact, it's going to be extremely close to what will end up being the only elementary school on the west side of the county. Now, the issue with that is that in the event of a rupture or a leak, this toxic CO2 can spew forth for hours. It spewed forth for 4 hours in Mississippi before they were able to shut it down. Mm-hmm. It is lethal for an adult within minutes. Mm-hmm. And so we're talking of kids under the age of 12 in a single-story building, and it displaces the oxygen and it pushes it up. So there is no breathable air underneath. But local control has been taken. We can't put forth setbacks. We can't put forth safety measures. And the company itself has not been in discussion with the school corporation as to emergency or evacuation procedures. So we're concerned about that as well.
Great concern. I think it's it's a common sense question. And again, we'll find out why they haven't been forthcoming and talking about that issue with you too, because I certainly, if I had kids going there, I would want to know that it's safe. So yeah, thank you for that. I never even thought about that. So thanks, Whitney. Yeah. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. There's many concerns I have, but we're limited on time. There's a crisis in the country, and then there's also a crisis in the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana, we live in such poverty. There's so many homeless people, even people working jobs, 2 jobs, living out of their cars, because investment firms have bought all the property, and now you have to put down $50 application fees just to see if you qualify. And if you don't qualify, you lose that $50, and it doesn't matter. So poverty is really bad, and especially here in Terre Haute. And the second part of it is Donald Trump has declared war on the poor people of this country. Things that he's putting forth are going to impact my community greatly. There are centers that the poor kids need that are going to be shut down because of his practices. He has made it clear that red states are to bend a knee and do whatever he wants, and Indiana has agreed to that. Our government has given Camp Atterbury to house immigrants that they like to call illegals, but they're not illegals. They're immigrants. No, they're people. They're people. They work just like you and me.
They came here illegally.
No, they didn't.
They
Many
didn't?
people.
Did they break? You can give it.
Listen, there's people being taken from court hearings. They're doing all this stuff. I don't want lip service. I want a real answer. Okay, he's given Camp Atterbury, one of our institutions, to house these people. These people are going down to Alligator Alcatraz and taking pictures. Are they going to do that here? Is it going to be like when the history books are written, where are we going to be if we house people in those facilities? And by the way, most of those people have legal status. There's many people that were U.S. citizens, but because they look Latino, get arrested off of the streets. And we all know what it is. It's a way to desensitize us, because in the end, it's going to end up anyone that doesn't agree with him is going to get taken. So I want to know, what is the state of Indiana going to do to protect its citizens?
Okay, so first of all, if someone's here, it kind of is. If somebody's here legally, they have every right to be here. So if they're citizens or if they have legal status, then we need to protect their right to be here. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. If you'd like to ask a question, you can get in line, and then I can answer your question.
But are you going to make sure all the people coming to Camp Atterbury have had due process?
So due process is in this situation is: are you here legally?
That isn't due
That is due.
process.
Yes, it is.
Due
So
process
did
is
we-
getting
No.
arrested and charged with a crime
If you-
and seeing a judge, and these
No.
people are not seeing a
Listen,
judge. That's not true.
They don't have a right to see a judge.
Why?
They came here illegally. They came here illegally.
Excuse
they came
me?
Here. So when the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor, did we give them due process to actually see a judge?
No, we
They
put them in concentration camps.
They invaded our country.
We put them in
stopped them from
concentration camps.
invading
Have
our
you heard?
country. See, this is crazy. Hey, how many illegals have you brought into your house? How many? How many of you? How much money have you given to? How much? What have you done?
So let me explain something right
Yeah.
now.
What have you done to serve them? Is my
What have I
question.
done? Well, let's
Yeah.
see. I've worked with many of them.
If you can't be quiet, you're welcome to
That's
leave.
right.
You're welcome to leave. If you want to ask a question, get in line. If you want to make a comment, get in line.
You were talking about what are we going to do
have the
for
prerogative to
citizens
get in
of this
line.
country to deal with the poverty, right? That was your first question. Well, it would help by not giving all of our money away to the rest of the world.
Indiana.
I mean, that's okay. So then, what do you? So can we take care of the children of the world? Can we take care of all of the immigrants that come here
Hey,
illegally?
she has the floor. He has the floor.
Again,
Stop.
if you'd like to ask a question, get in line.
Is the
So-
state government of Indiana going to give those programs? Because Donald Trump doesn't want poor people to have money.
We're
Are you
certainly
gonna
going
do
to continue programs that
No, you're not.
feed the poor. Yeah, we are.
No, you're not.
What programs?
14th and Chestnut.
So
Yeah,
this-
there's plenty of programs in this
You do-
town that's going to be affected. And number one, listen, I'm not interested in gaslighting, okay?
yeah, we are going to
You-
take care of the poor.
You asked me what, here's the
They
thing.
should be here legally.
Here's the thing. The immigrant is not my enemy.
I agree with that.
The government and billionaires are my enemy because they're the ones stealing my money. I do not care who's on SNAP. People on SNAP are not stealing my money. Immigrants are not stealing my money. And to answer your question, I would gladly help immigrants, and I have because I've worked with them. And I see how the companies exploit their labor, and it's wrong. And I've also heard their stories. I seen a video of these people crossing mountains to escape horrible conditions. These are people, and you guys love to use the word illegals.
There's a
but
process for that.
There's
It's called
no one-
asylum. It's called asylum.
Again, they're taking people that have asylum. They're taking people that have legal status. They are.
And if there's somebody here that has legal status that is being deported illegally, let me know. We will fight against that.
Have you?
Okay,
It's
please,
everywhere.
Please do. Now here's what I'm saying though. You have people who crossed the border illegally. Did they break the law when they did that?
Well,
No.
a
No,
civil law
they didn't.
maybe, which is the same
No,
as
it's a criminal law. It's a criminal law.
So back to
It's
my
a criminal
original,
law.
the last
No,
question I had
Answer
is,
the question. Answer the question. Did they break the law when they came here?
No. Show me that law, Micah.
It's a criminal law. I can show it to you. I can absolutely show it to you.
Pull it up, please. Wait a minute.
You guys
It's
may
a-
be quiet.
if
She
you would-
has the floor. That's
So-
right. If you want to make a comment, get in line.
So
No,
if there
he
is
asked her a question.
if they broke the law, which they did, if they broke the law, they did. They broke the law. So I would then ask you, if we're allowed to pick and choose what laws we can follow, am I allowed to? Will you be okay if I can pick certain laws to follow and ignore certain laws?
lawmakers break laws all the time.
Okay, so you're okay with that? That's okay.
If someone's trying to survive and they gotta go steal a gallon of milk from the store to feed their kids, yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine
But
with
the
that,
last
okay.
question I have, which is
What if they
most
stole from you?
importantly,
What if they stole from
what
you?
are you going to do to make
Would
sure
you be okay
the
if they
citizens
stole
of
from you?
Indiana are protected from Donald Trump?
First
What
of all,
are
I
you
think
gonna
Donald
do?
Trump's doing a great job. I think he's going to go down in history as one of the best presidents in American history.
This is a
Absolutely
waste
he
of
will.
time.
Absolutely he will. Absolutely he will. He's doing a great job. He's cleaning up what Joe Biden absolutely destroyed in 4 years. So, what does a fascist mean? What's a fascist?
Okay, you
Oh,
need
me?
to stop.
Good one.
She has the
It's a
floor.
good one.
They, please. My
Okay.
pronouns are they, them. But you wouldn't know that. That's okay. So, hi.
Hello.
My name is Edie Hollis. I'm a lifelong resident here in Terre Haute. I also had a question about my community that's going to be impacted, and that is the autistic community.
Okay.
So, I, like many other people, have been hearing and seeing all of the negative comments that people like RFK and Dr. Oz have been saying about autistic people, about how we don't pay taxes, we don't have jobs, we don't contribute to society. So I came to prove you that that is wrong. I am college educated. I have a bachelor's degree from one of the highest rated colleges in this area, sorry, I'm nervous and I'm mad.
You're fine. You're fine. You're doing a great job.
So I went to St. Mary of the Woods.
Okay.
That is a very highly esteemed college here. It was very, very difficult to get into. So the fact that I graduated, being an autistic person, I hold that as a very high badge of honor. I also own 2 businesses here in Terre Haute. I currently work for an LCPA. I work with children in the foster care system. I advocate for them. Before that, I advocated for children in the court system. I was a court-appointed special advocate. A lot of these children are on the autism spectrum, and I also am part of the autism spectrum. You made a comment earlier about how you didn't like people telling you what to do. You didn't...
Like local control?
Yeah. So you made a comment specifically about how you didn't, you wouldn't like it if someone from Washington came here and told you how to live your life. So my question is, why then are you implementing health initiatives that have been put forth by RFK, who couldn't find his way out of a wet paper bag, and Dr. Oz, who is not really a doctor, honestly. So I don't,
like Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah, she's actually educated. I would love to have a conversation with her because she is educated.
So let me say this. First of all, that's a great question. I have not heard what Dr. Oz or what RFK Jr. have said when it comes to the autistic community not being valuable because they don't pay taxes. I've not heard that. I've not heard them say that.
So maybe not that specifically,
okay.
But
Assuming you heard it, now what's the...
So if I can respond to that, I think the autistic community is an amazing community. I have some incredible friends who are autistic, and they're doing incredible things.
Yes, we are.
And so first and foremost, I'm going to tell you right now, you are highly valued as part of our society. And if anyone ever tries to tell you otherwise, I'll be right there next to you, linking arms with you.
The Republican Party tells me that every fucking day.
So
Pardon my French, but they do.
So no, but who
Everyone
in the Republican
Party.
How? I just told you you're
Donald
valuable.
Trump, for one.
Okay, has he said?
RFK,
I've not heard them say that.
Well, okay. So there were comments that you had made on a podcast about rising rates of autism. This wasn't a thing 50 years ago. Yes, it was. We just didn't have a name for it back then.
Autistic
people have always existed.
We have seen increased autistic rates, have we not, over the last 50 years?
Because we now have an official name for it, but the condition has always existed.
I'm not saying that it hasn't always been there. I think it has been there. But I do think from every stat that we have, the increase in that stat is showing over the last 50 years, there is a dramatic rise in autistic.
Diagnosis, yes. And so that would be true of any condition, not specifically just for autism.
But shouldn't we look to see what's the cause behind that? I mean, doesn't that concern you? If, again, autistic
it's
people
not caused by
amazing.
Vaccines, if that's what you're trying to say.
I'm just saying, shouldn't we know if there is a correlation and a cause to that?
From what? What correlation would there be?
I don't know.
Because the latest research seems to indicate if they could get more funding, they could do more research on this. But the latest research that's being published by actual doctors, not Dr. Oz, actual educated medical doctors, have shown, or they believe, that autism starts in utero. And with more...
Do they know why?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But they don't get funding because Trump took funding away for schools.
So Trump took funding away for schools, so that's why we don't know why. I think we should...
With more funding and more studies, yes, we could find a reason why. But if we find a reason why, what would we do with it?
Well, I think we have to know what the reason why is to know what to do. I think that's the question. It's what's the reason?
Is to provide support for individuals who need it.
I believe we are providing support to the best of our ability. If you're saying, hey, we need more funding, okay, well, what's the evidence for that? Or how much have we cut from that? I don't know.
You just said the rising rates of autism, and we need to do more studying.
Oftentimes when people say we just need more funding, I always say, well, For what? How are you going to use it? What is the goal when it comes to the amount of funding you need? And there's usually never an answer to those questions. Those are really important questions. Again, as a business owner, as somebody that has to invest money into things, you always want to know what's your return on investment.
Yeah.
What you're spending money. It's important to spend money. I think actual research of autism is a very important cause. I want to see it funded. The question is how much. I know we're funding it. Right?
Not so much.
No. Yes, we are. We are funding
Okay.
it.
Okay.
The question is, though, you're saying you want more.
okay.
You want more funding. And my question is, how much more? What are the goals? How can we do this with wisdom and not just throw money at the wall and expect it to fix the problem?
So I think what would be really great to see would be for the list of words that researchers are not allowed to put in their grant proposals. Why are we limiting what people can request money for? Like, we don't want to study women, we don't want to study people with autism, we don't want to study mental health. Why is that? If you really want to get to the root of something, why are you taking funding away from trying to explore what causes those things?
Well, I think it's just having parameters, right? You don't just throw money at some problem with no parameters. You say, how's this money going to be spent? I think you would want your tax dollars to be spent in a way that you would believe somebody's actually looking at the issue from a holistic perspective, saying, let's spend the money this way because we think we're going to get the best result. I think it's okay to put parameters around spending money. We do that all the time. So I don't think you just throw money at a problem. I think you say, okay, how much money and what are we going to spend it on?
Okay,
I think
well,
that's
thank you.
that's wisdom.
Thank
throw
you.
money at autism research
Yep.
than an $80 million
Thank you.
ballroom in the White House.
I don't know. I think the ballroom's going to be pretty cool. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, how are you?
I'm concerned. I have concerns. I have three that I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
First of all, a town hall is not a political rally, so if you could please let us ask our questions.
That's why I'm here.
And not
How many
accuse
politicians
us of,
have come out to Vigo County to do what I'm doing from the state?
That's not the point.
I'm just saying, I'm here in
Yes.
good faith
Yes,
to
you
talk
are.
with you.
Okay.
I will give my opinion, just like you will give your opinion. We will maybe find common ground. We will maybe find solutions. But to say that I can't give my opinion,
I didn't say that,
okay.
sir. I
So
didn't say that, sir.
I'm not. Have I mentioned RD? I haven't mentioned RD.
Have you been to them?
So,
Cassie.
Listen,
Hey.
Micah,
Okay.
please help me.
Cassie,
No,
I'm
Micah,
I'm
I
sorry,
just called
Cassie.
her about it.
Hey, listen. Hey,
Right now. Here they come.
I'm sorry, Cassie.
Don't put your hands
Yeah.
on her.
No, because this one, don't.
Come on,
You are over there giving 111?
Cassie.
Micah!
Hey, I'm
I
trying.
will not, but can I just talk to
No,
Micah?
Cassie, if they're asking you to leave,
Micah,
we'll.
because Micah,
I understand, Cassie. Listen, I understand, but they're asking you to leave. This is their facility. So, yes, yeah. Cassie,
Caitlin,
I understand.
Come here.
I understand,
and I
but
will walk out. I won't even be in the meeting.
Okay.
Because you don't let them.
Caitlin,
Cassie,
come walk.
Cassie,
No. Caitlin, no. Caitlin, walk out with Cassie. Walk out with Cassie.
Yeah.
Go with Caitlin. Go with Caitlin, Cassie.
Cassie. I'm sorry. At this point,
It's because of that dude.
Okay.
Let me one more
Okay.
time, one more time.
Okay,
I
hold
wasn't
on.
do anything. She was
All right.
fine with it. I apologize
So-
for each time. I will
Hey.
leave the meeting. I don't want to be sorry.
okay. If you,
No,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
okay, Cassie,
If I leave the meeting on my own accord,
that's fine.
and can you ask these officers to get away from me?
Okay.
I don't
Caitlin
know.
will escort you
I
out.
don't need anyone but
Yes.
myself.
Okay.
I want-
Okay.
especially this
Here,
one away from
come,
anything
come
so
right. Hey,
bad.
come right.
So
Cassie,
bad.
Cassie, come here. Come right this way. Come here.
I have to
Come
get
here.
my stuff.
Okay. Well, if you can get your stuff, all right. Yes, you're fine, Cassie. These guys are. They're fine.
I
They're.
know, you did it for me last time.
I understand,
So I haven't even been doing
Cassie. Okay. Here's Cassie.
Come on, dude. Come on.
If we give you another chance, can you?
I'm telling you,
Can
I
you?
did this last time. No, they're doing that.
Cassie, oh, you're beyond it.
Why are you?
Okay. All right, Cassie. All right. They're asking you to leave, Cassie.
You guys are gross.
Cassie, they're asking you to leave. If you just go this way, he's not gonna touch you, Cassie.
I can let officers like hold back and I'll
I
walk
understand.
off. Can
You're-
you just watch me walk out because I don't want to be escorted by a bunch of fucking dudes. Especially your bag.
Cassie, you're fine. They'll be fine. You're fine. Thank you for coming, Cassie. We'll.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're kind.
Yep, you're fine. Yep, hey. Yes. Hey, no problem. Hey, we'll see you. We'll see you at another one of these. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so Marie has a question in the circle shirts.
Okay. Thanks, Cassie. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Stop. Just stop. Stop. We have always accommodated Cassie, and I like Cassie, so stop.
Yeah. She's been at many of these rallies. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's your question?
Just a comment very
Okay,
quickly.
comment.
The purpose is to have a free exchange,
Right,
correct? Okay,
correct.
so let's not be partisan if we can help it.
Okay.
I'm a member of a group called the Interfaith Council of the Wabash Valley.
Okay.
The purpose of this group is to promote religious tolerance and respect for other religions. I'll just tell you up front, even though I'm not obligated to do this, I'm not a Christian. I'm not offended or opposed by Christianity. It's just because of the First Amendment, I have a right not to be that. So I'm concerned when I hear your interviews that say my position as Lieutenant Governor is inseparable from my position as a pastor. Doesn't the First Amendment put some distance between those two things?
So I identify as a Christ follower. So are you asking me to leave my identity at the door when I walk into the Lieutenant Governor's office?
No, sir. I'm only asking that we all respect the First Amendment, which says we are free to do or not to do that. As an elected
Correct.
official, you have a higher standing in this community than I do. I'm just a voter, okay?
I actually
But
disagree with that. I think I work for you. So,
Okay,
but
well, if you work for me, then I need to ask you
Yes.
not to take sides religiously. Great, you don't have to stop being a pastor. I would never say that because you have the same First Amendment rights that I do. However, there is space for a bit of separation when you're speaking from the podium of the State House. Okay?
can we
You do not-
apply? So can we apply that same standard then to every politician? Would you be okay with that?
Sure.
So if somebody identifies as LGBTQ, they should leave that at the door and they shouldn't bring that to the podium too? Well, why do they get to identify? Well, okay, so my lived experience is I'm a Christ follower, so I can't bring that to the podium?
I didn't say that, sir. I said, in your capacity as an elected official, please do not favor one particular group over another. Okay. If you were Muslim, if you were Jewish, if you were Shinto, name a religion, you do not have the right to bring that forth as a public official. There's separation of church and state.
So then what is our national motto?
E pluribus unum.
It's in God we trust. In God we trust.
No, that's just printed on our money.
Okay, no, that's our motto. That's actually our
Sir,
national
again,
motto.
I'm not here to argue with you.
I'm just
Shall
saying,
we move on to the next
well,
question?
I really like this question though, or this comment, because I do think it does beg the question: is if there is you want a secular, a-religious environment in government.
I did not.
Correct. So
Maybe they do. I did
okay.
not say that.
Oh, well,
I did not say that. I need you to respect the fact that there are at least 15 other religions in Indiana.
I agree with that.
That's all.
That's
Okay.
great.
So
and
my
they're welcome
second
to worship here.
question, thank you.
Yes.
My second question is 70% of nursing home residents in Indiana rely 100% on Medicaid funding. What happens when this goes away in 2027?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will. Yeah. No, I don't think it's going to. Again, let's see how this plays out. I don't think it's going away. And we've been told by the federal government and state government that we're not cutting and getting rid of Medicaid. We're trying to stop the waste, fraud, and abuse. So if it's not wasteful, if it's not fraudulent, if there's not abuse, then that means there's going to be more money for those who really need the money. Do you not want that?
No, I do not. No,
You don't want that.
I'm a retired government worker who specialized in benefits. interviews. I'm an eligibility worker, okay? I'm a retired eligibility worker. You can only be on those programs if a certified civil servant puts you there. To say that there's widespread waste, fraud, and abuse is a chainsaw approach. Anybody on those programs is there because a qualified caseworker verified that they are eligible for it.
So you're telling me, like, you believe there's no waste, fraud, or abuse anywhere in the Medicaid program?
I didn't say none, but it's like 0.0023.
Okay, well,
It's very, very small.
So then let's stop that.
Sure.
And then see what happens, right? Can we do that? Can we agree that we should
We're
at least
not
stop
machines. No.
that? No? We shouldn't stop that.
I didn't. Please stop putting words into my mouth.
I'm asking clarifying questions.
No. It's a human endeavor. We do the job to our best of ability. The military makes mistakes.
Absolutely.
Congress makes mistakes.
We should stop waste, fraud, and abuse there too.
Okay.
Well, you could try. You guys certainly tried, and you didn't. So
Next, how much more?
She has the floor. Please
Yeah.
just don't be disrespectful of her.
To date,
Please don't disrespect her.
and I'm quoting the Indiana Chronicle, Todd Rokita's legal bills have come to about $500,000 that Indiana has paid on his behalf because he needs to be defended against allegations of misconduct. How much more beyond the $500,000 is the state of Indiana going to have to pay to defend Todd Rokita?
well, I would flip the question around and say, how many more frivolous allegations are going to come at him? I mean, that's to me. I think the allegations are actually ridiculous. I think they're absolutely ridiculous. And so, how about we stop coming after him with these frivolous allegations, and then we're
And
we'll
that,
be good.
sir, excuse me, that is it. That, can I please finish one
I've
sentence?
let you talk a lot. So,
Okay.
so please understand, like, I've been very respectful of you. So you stop. You're saying, hey, can you please talk? I've given you the floor for a lot.
Okay.
So.
But a rebuttal, this
Sure.
is not a debate, sir, okay?
Okay.
Why
I'm not
would
trying to make-
those people, I mean, do we have any evidence that the allegations are incorrect or a witch hunt? That seems to be a very common word among the GOP, witch hunt, witch hunt, witch hunt.
It's because it's happened. I mean, we're seeing what happened with Russia, and that was all apparently a witch hunt. Now
We're
are
not
we
talking
are
about
we
Russia, we're talking about
Todd,
the state of Indiana pays his legal
innocent
bills.
until proven guilty, correct? So does he have to defend himself first, or do we have a burden of proof on our shoulders to say you've done these things, now therefore we're coming after you? Again, I don't think that what are the allegations? I mean, tell me the allegations.
I'm not an attorney, sir. I'm just a taxpayer. I've lived in Indiana all my life, okay? I don't think we should be spending $500,000 on his defense.
I agree with that. So we should stop the allegations. That's all I'm saying. I think he's doing a good job. Let me address too, going back to the faith aspects. I want to hit that. You're making the statement that somehow I am not respecting other people of faith, other religions. I don't want that to be. That's not my heart. I think everyone they have the right to worship however they want. However, in America, we are founded in Judeo-Christian ethics.
No, we were not.
Yes, we are. Then why did George Washington say it's impossible to govern except without God in the Bible? Like, why did he say that? It's impossible to rightly govern.
Okay, if you have a comment or
you can
question,
get in line.
get in line.
You can get in line. Get in line. Thank you. So what I'm saying is, at some point, there has to be a moral lawgiver in our nation of laws. Correct? No. Every nation. No.
It's non-denominational.
No. Every nation has someone or something or some group of people that are the moral lawgivers, right? Like.
No, they're not.
So who makes the laws?
No, we do not.
Who makes the laws?
The consent of the people. The consent of the people.
So the people are. You want the people then to be the moral lawgivers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's a democracy. So you want a democracy. Okay, so we're not a democracy actually.
We're a republic. Yeah.
We're a republic. We're a constitutional republic. Democracy leads to mob rule.
Okay.
So
Sir,
if someone says, hey, we want to make a law that says black people should not have the right to vote.
But that's not what you're.
Is that?
No, sir.
Is
This
that-
is not the topic. That's not what you were saying.
But what
I'm
I'm
not
saying-
accusing you of saying
Who
anything
gets-
for or against any particular religion.
That's right. But at some point, somebody has to be the moral lawgiver. So
No, they don't.
every nation is a theocracy. The only question is who's the theo?
No, it's
That
not.
is because the moral lawgiver is the God of that nation.
Sir,
So the people. So you want the people to be God,
sir,
essentially.
I want you to get out of my face religiously,
I'm not
okay?
in your
I
face
can't put it
religiously.
any clearer than
I'm not,
that.
I'm not in
okay?
your face religiously. You can worship however you would like to. That's your right. That's great. But at some point, do we build our laws off of Sharia law? Would you like to see Sharia law?
Maybe.
Really?
I have that right.
Really? So
I
Sharia
have that
law,
right.
they execute people of the LGBTQ community.
Sir, we're not
See,
talking about Sharia. We're talking about Terre Haute, Indiana. We're talking
I
about
understand.
Indianapolis.
At
This
some
is a
point-
waste of my time.
Okay, well, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. I don't think it's a waste of my time, but you came out,
Yeah.
so I
yeah,
mean,
of course. Well, that's because we have to come and see you,
That's-
okay? And here's the thing.
I came to your county, ma'am.
Yes, you did.
So
You are
did
the
not.
first person.
you.
Nobody.
You're welcome.
Nobody has thought to come here.
Okay, and I
Okay.
did.
Okay. And who else are you going to send? Where's the governor? What else do we have to drive to Indianapolis? What's
Ma'am, you can ask the governor where he's at. The governor's been getting around the state too. Him and I are both moving around the state a lot. But I wanted to come to Vigo County, so we made a point to do that because we want to give you a chance to let your voice be heard. Now, I may not agree with you. That's okay. You don't agree with me. That's okay. But you know what? That's part of our process. That's the beauty of America. We can disagree.
Yes, we can.
And I disagree with you. I adamantly disagree with you. You adamantly disagree with me.
Okay. My opinion
Is your
is
opinion.
not the same as you being on the payroll of the state of Indiana. It's a little bit different there. You have
No, it's
a
not.
different obligation. Yeah, you do. You're
No,
taking
so-
state-funded money.
I
pay your salary.
So here's how elections work. So I tell the people of
What you
Indiana what
mean.
my opinion is on everything. I told them clearly when I was running. I said, this is what I believe. This is why I believe it. Vote for me if you like that. Don't vote for me if you don't like that. Well, overwhelmingly, the people of Indiana voted for me. So now, for the next 4 years, my opinion is what I told you I was going to do. I don't get into office and then do this. Be like, I wonder which way the political winds are blowing today. I'm going to change my opinion. No, I believe what I believe because I know why I know it. And so if you don't like it, then you can run somebody against me in 4
Sir,
years.
excuse me, but there's 2 points on this I need to point out, and then I'm finished.
Sure.
I'm not
I
going to
appreciate this
argue
conversation.
anymore.
I
Okay.
like this conversation. We're not arguing.
First of all, you were not Mike Braun's choice. I think everybody knows that.
That's right.
Okay.
It was
Secondly,
the people's choice.
well, the Republican people, yeah, in a gerrymandered red state. Secondly,
And Illinois is not
if
a
there's any
germ-
attorneys, if there are any attorneys in the room today, please help me out on this because I'm not an attorney. If you are on American soil, your status does not matter. You have a legal right in this country for due process, regardless. Sir, ask the Supreme Court. No, I get that from the Supreme Court.
So can I ask a question?
Everybody has due process. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not.
Okay, so can I ask a question? If Russia invades Alaska tomorrow, do their soldiers, no, this is an important question, do their soldiers get constitutional protections?
We're not talking about Russia.
You just said everybody on American soil gets constitutional protections. Dude,
okay.
the question is, if you're on American soil, you get constitutional protections. That's what you're alleging.
If you're seeking asylum, Russian invaders, presumably, who came to our country to conquer us, are not seeking asylum.
I'm just saying, you said that if you're here on our soil,
That's
you should have
correct.
constitution.
Yes.
I'm saying no.
Okay.
It depends on why you're here. It depends on how you got here. So we don't. Again, I just the due process when it comes to finding out whether or not someone's here legally or not is, do you have legal status? And if you don't, then we send them back. There's no court. We don't put them through the court process. They don't have constitutional protections. They do not. They do not. No, they don't. That's absolutely nonsense. No, they don't. American citizens have constitutional protection.
I'm an immigrant, okay? Everybody in this room, unless you have a tribal affiliation with an indigenous person, You don't have to worry about your immigration status. Okay. Other than that, everybody in this room is an immigrant.
So were the indigenous people. They immigrated here at some point too.
So my first question.
Please respect her. She has the floor.
My first question. What does Jesus think about you smiling and laughing at a woman asking you an honest question and leaving her on the verge of tears? Is that what Jesus looks like to you?
Can I not smile? I wasn't laughing at her. I was smiling.
You were laughing at her.
At who? The lady that just
was just up
here?
Yes.
First of all, we were having a dialogue.
No, the lady that was just here.
So
Not
first
Kathy.
of all,
Not
and if
Kathy.
she's on the verge of tears, that's not my intention to make her cry, but I am being honest with her. Would Jesus say to kind of tickle your ears, to lie to you in order to make you feel good, or would he say speak the truth?
He would probably speak the truth without mocking. Just saying. But that's not what I'm here for.
Well, he did
What
mock,
I'm here
actually.
for, yes, he mocked Pharisees.
Yes, and
not the same as common people.
And Elijah mocked the people who weren't part of Israel, the prophets of Baal. So there's time and a place to use that strategy. I'm not saying I'm trying to do that here. I wasn't trying to do that here. What I am saying is, don't think that it's a blanket statement. I think Jesus would be very offensive to many people in this room.
So that's actually not what I came up here for. What I came up here for is you said something earlier when we were talking about the farms. And you were talking about how farmland is being lost to solar and wind. So I thought I would explain, I would tell you my experience as a person, one of the first in my family to own land, and the struggles that I found trying to attain that land. Because when we tried to do so, we wanted land that we could grow things on. It didn't have to have a nice house. It didn't have to have anything fancy. We wanted land. I have a business where I make things out of herbs, so we needed good land without pesticides and things being sprayed around. And so we tried every way we could think of to look for land. What we found was that corporations and landlords were buying ginormous chunks of this basically farmland. Not solar. No solar plants were fighting for me for land. No wind things were fighting for me for land. Corporations were fighting me for land. We did not think we were going to be able to find land. We were able to by basically knowing someone. But as a citizen of this area, I would like to know what you will be doing in your office to stop corporations from making a situation where common residents cannot afford to have housing, while homelessness is simultaneously having more severe criminal penalties.
Yeah, good question. I agree with the premise of your ideology here. When I want to see homes and land going to Indiana residents. I don't like when corporations and conglomerates outside of the state are buying up land. Now, we do live in a free market, so if somebody wants to sell their home or their land to a corporation that's offering them more money, you got to respect property rights too. So there's a property rights conversation in this, right? So you can't tell, like if you owned your land now and someone came to you, a corporation, and they were going to pay you millions upon millions of dollars for your land for some reason, and it was only worth, say, $500,000, you're probably going to be like, well, that's a pretty good deal. And so I want you to have the ability and the right to do with your land what you want to an extent. Now, we don't let people sell their land to China, right? The Constitution is not a suicide compact, right? We don't get to just go out and just do reckless things with our property. There are boundaries. But I don't like the fact that we're seeing many of our homes in America are actually owned by a Canadian venture capitalist company, right? A lot of these small homes, single family homes, and they're buying them up and then they're renting them. And what I saw down in Vandenberg County a couple weeks ago, you have corporations who are buying up land, and they bought up a lot of that land a few years ago, sat on it, and now guess what they're doing? they're selling it to a solar company. Okay, so they didn't sell it right away, but they sold it to a solar company. So there's, out of this 2.5 mile stretch of land, there's about 10 property owners. Only one of them actually lives in the county. The rest are all out-of-state owners. And I don't like that, because they're now giving up some of our most prime farmland. So I'm going to fight to protect small farms. I'm going to protect the ability of people to get into farming. I come from the farm world. I come from the dairy world. I believe in the beauty of being able to produce our own food and produce our own products here in Indiana. I'm going to work with guys like Hunter Smith. I was just on the phone with him on the way down here. He's a representative, a small farmer. And we're going to work to push legislation through that actually makes it easier for people like you to get involved in owning land and owning small farms. He had a bill that was a great bill this last session that got killed in the Senate, passed the House overwhelmingly, and it was to benefit small farmers. The Senate killed it. So we've got to go back and, you know, so I understand. Do you think the Republicans actually like me? I take more heat from the establishment Republicans than I do even from the left. So I've been fighting the Republicans just as much as I'm fighting the left sometimes. So I don't think Republicans do everything right. I've called them out. That's why they didn't want me. That's why the establishment did not want me at the convention, is because they knew I would call them out. I actually got booted from my local Republican Party in 2020 because I was calling them out for their nonsense during the shutdowns. So they kicked me out. So again, I've gone to battle against the Republican parties. I'm always open to do that if they're doing something wrong. So I'm going to work to actually make it easier, create legislation, work with legislators to create legislation that will make your life easier to be able to get into the small farm opportunities.
What I need isn't special exemptions. What you said was that there is a balance between protecting individual interests and also the greater good. I feel like the issue is not that I don't get enough government help, although I will happily take more. However, I think that on the scale of corporate interests versus individual interests, right now we have allowed a lot of out-of-state real estate developers or whoever to buy large chunks of land. My question isn't how you are going to give me an extra $500 to navigate the fee or to navigate the situation. My question is, what is your office going to do to limit these out-of-state entities buying up giant chunks of land, whether they're solar or not? What are you working to do about that?
Well, I think
what is your solution?
First of all, when a corporation usually comes to a local community and says, hey, we want to do a business venture, the local communities will oftentimes incentivize those corporations to come by TIFs or abatements or some sort of tax deferment program that these companies don't have to pay taxes for either an extended period of time or, you know, many, many years. I think incentivizing behavior like that is a bad idea. So I would like to see legislation that really kind of curbs this incentivizing of poor decisions that destroy our farmland, and we could do that from the State House. I could work with legislators. I'd be happy to talk with legislators about making some legislation to where we can curb that a little bit. Again, you can't tell a corporation, no, you're not allowed to buy up property if a landowner wants to sell you that property. There is a balance, to your point. And so you have to be careful when you say, okay, one size fits all, everyone has to do it this way, because you might, the year after that legislation goes in the law, you might get a corporation that comes and says, we want to buy your land for millions of dollars, and oh, we can't do it now because the legislature said, and I don't want that to happen either. You know, so again, it is a balance. It's a balance. But again, don't incentivize companies from Canada to come into our communities and buy up land, right? Well, that was my example. There is a big company from a venture capital firm from Canada, so I'm using that as an example. So, thank you. Good question.
Mr. Beckwith, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
I'm Jim Turner. I'm a recently retired family physician, did rural medicine for 35 years here in the Wabash Valley. For about 8 years, I sat up here. I was a member of the Vigo County Board of Health, a couple years as president and so forth. So what I want to talk to you about was just give you some information about healthcare, and particularly rural healthcare.
Okay.
approximately 55 rural hospitals in Indiana. You probably visited some of them. 4 of them are on the brink of closing. Medicaid cuts, you've been hearing this for the last month, could truly decimate that. So you have to watch that very closely. Supposedly, in the big beautiful bill, at the last minute, they decided to give states cash. Maybe Indiana will get like $200 million to help save rural hospitals. In most communities, as you know, the rural hospital is the #1 employer, either the school district or the rural hospital. You lose the rural hospital, you lose the integrity of the community. You lose the jobs that young people can go to school, get educated, and come back. So I want you to really work to protect the rural hospitals because that's your farm background.
I agree.
And I think the governor also is not all about the big ivory tower hospitals either in Indianapolis.
Right.
He wants to help the smaller hospitals out. I was in a room when Indiana University developed their first rural training program. This goes back about 25 years ago. The federal government told the medical schools, we don't have enough doctors. And so we had enough people together in primary care that when Indiana University decided to expand their enrollment by 20 students, we developed a rural medicine program. And it's housed here in Terre Haute. So what I would encourage you to do as you're learning, because you're kind of new to this, come to Terre Haute, go to Union Hospital, visit the Indiana Rural Medicine Program. There's 25 students come here every year from rural Indiana. They go through a special, I don't know if you know anything about this, but they go through a special academic preparation for it. I was on the interview committee for years. We chose young people who were in 4-H, lived on a farm, wanted to go home. That's who selected for this committee. And as it turned out, they were the top academic students of all 350. Indiana University is the second largest med school in the country. So now we have a rural program, and it's been going on long enough that 75% of those kids have gone back to Indiana. You have to support that.
That's great.
You should come here and visit, meet those young people.
Could you connect with Anthony? And I would love to. Yeah.
It's a wonderful program. The other organization I want you to really get involved with is the Indiana Rural Health Association.
Okay.
Are you familiar with it?
I've heard about it. I don't know much about it though.
The Indiana Rural Health Association is the largest in the country. I was part of it for 25 years. 600 members. They usually meet once a year and so forth like that, promoting rural health issues. We'll go up to the Hill. I used to go to D.C. twice a year, Capitol Hill. Again, not even for the altruistic idea of providing health care for elderly folks and rural folks. It's jobs. We create jobs. The average rural physician creates 25 jobs. Your staff, your home health, your pharmacy, hospice, your nursing homes would not be there without that rural physician. And in the state of Indiana, you have to remember, even though we have a lot of nurse practitioners now, they all have to be collaborated by a physician. So we still need that rural physician. So I would encourage you as time goes along, and let me mention one other thing. About 5 years ago, I don't know if you know or people know, Indiana is 48th in funding public health. We are terrible. I sat on that board all during that time. I was here during COVID. That's disgraceful. About 4 years ago, the governor formed a commission. I don't know if you know anything about it, the governor's commission. It's a wonderful white paper if you've not read it. It's only about 20 pages, very readable. Some outstanding programs around the state of Indiana, but you know what they didn't have? Funding. So the governor and this commission came out, it's been about 3 years ago, and got the legislature to put a lot of money into a new funding of public health. Well, suddenly the state of Indiana became bankrupt. Supposedly we were flush. We were this red state, flush cash. Then 6 months ago, we were hearing that the state didn't have any money and so forth. Anyway, this funding program that came out, we were supposed to get another $1 million in Vigo County. Hire a couple nurses. We can't hire nurses here because the hospitals pay so much more. So we can't hire a public health nurse to do vaccinations and all the different things. Now the money was going to come. Everybody was so excited. Wonderful commission, governor all behind it. 1.2 million coming. You know what the governor's doing? 600,000. Yeah. Cutting it back down to where it was before. We're going backwards in public health. The funding was there, the commission was there, everybody agreed, we were all excited about it, looking how we're going to spend that money, do extra things, because we want to keep people healthy. Businesses don't want to come to an unhealthy state. When you're 48th in funding public health, they don't want to pay for unhealthy employees. So public health is so important, it's ridiculous and disgraceful that we were 48th. And we're going to drop that number back. Read the white paper. You probably haven't yet.
I haven't. If you want to get that to Anthony.
Part of what I'm telling you is to give you some information.
That's great. I
Because
appreciate
I want
it.
people to be healthier and be better. That's a wonderful white paper, easy, plenty of solutions, everything from COVID to HIV, all the things that are complicated. People don't realize what your health department does until something goes wrong. I mean, restaurant inspections and all the different things. So I'd encourage you, meet at the Indiana, in Terre Haute, at the IU School of Medicine. I can set it up for you. Get to know the people at Indiana Rural Health Association. They're top-notch, they're great, they're advocating for rural health. And read the white paper on how poorly we have done funding public health in this state. We do much better. We want to have a healthy state.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, doctor. Yeah, get with Anthony, and then we'll set up that trip. I'd love to see that, and I can tell you're a wealth of knowledge. Hello.
Hi, my name is Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
I wanted to talk to you again about separation of church and state.
Okay.
Okay, so I have some quotes here from our founding fathers.
Sure.
Thomas Jefferson says, Christianity neither is nor ever was a part of common law. Christianity is the most perverted system that ever shone on man. Religions are all alike, founded upon fables and mythologies. John Adams said the government of the United States of America is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion. So I just feel as if whenever you're deciding on, what laws, what policies, whatever the fuck that you want to get passed, that your religion should have no say in it.
So, did you said Thomas Jefferson was the first quote?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have anything to do with the Constitution?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. He was in Europe when the Constitution was written. He wrote the
Okay.
Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
He mentions
Well, what
God.
about-
He mentions
what about
God.
John Adams?
John Adams said our Constitution is wholly inadequate except for a religious and moral people. That's what John Adams said.
Okay.
You can look it up. So I think
John Adams said the United States is not a Christian nation any
Okay.
more than it is a Jewish or a Mohammedan nation.
Okay.
So how would you feel if there was somebody making laws based on the Quran or the Torah?
So our founders did not make laws based on the Quran.
You make your decisions based on the Bible. You said that.
They did make laws based on the Torah. They used Deuteronomy. They referenced Deuteronomy more than any other book that of history to build our civil laws. Isaiah 33:22 is where James Madison got the inspiration for the three branches of government. All right, so we see even a pastor, Reverend John Hooker, who preached a message in the late 1600s, was the foundation for the American Republic. If you go to Reverend Hooker's home in Bristol, England, it says, here is the home of Reverend John Hooker, the father of American democracy. So we are rooted in Judeo-Christian ethic. And I could pull up hundreds of quotes from our founding fathers that pointed to Christianity and to the Judeo-Christian ethic as being the foundations for our moral law. That doesn't mean.
Well, I don't need a book to tell me what's right and wrong. I'm sorry that you do.
So how do you define good? What's good?
Not killing people?
Well, why?
What the fuck?
Why?
What do you mean why?
No, why? Why?
Because it's not okay.
In your opinion.
Oh, okay.
In your opinion.
Sure.
Okay, I'm saying this because what if somebody came to you and said, Amanda, it's okay to kill somebody? Who's right?
I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about
Who's right?
now.
How do you get to look at them and say you're wrong?
I am talking respectfully.
No, I'm asking a serious question because there are cultures.
It's a very stupid question. I agree.
Well,
I
do you
don't
believe
need
in
a book
do you believe
to tell me what's right or wrong.
Do you believe in evolution?
I believe in taking care of people.
Okay, but why?
Because I'm a good fucking person. Sorry.
But your definition of good is your opinion. So what I'm saying is, who gets to decide what good really is? Who gets to decide?
People.
Oh, so a democracy, so the collective. So when the people decide to put Jews in a boxcar and ship them off, and collectively they do that.
I'm sorry,
and they say
Hitler.
that's
I'm not
good,
putting people in boxcars and shipping them to detention centers.
They did.
Your
They
government's doing that right now.
Oh, where the? No, they're not.
Alligator Alcatraz.
They're sending them home. It's a holding cell
Really?
to go home.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I could pull
But-
up 1,000 fucking
Amanda-
articles right now about how people are getting sent to somewhere they've never been in their life.
Okay, well, if they're here illegally, that's a problem, don't you think? First of all, go
How-
back.
I'm sorry. How about when Donald Trump just decides on a freaking whim that he's gonna take away some people's fucking rights all of a sudden? He's gonna be like, oh, you know what? I don't think that they should be civilians. I'm gonna take that back. And then
Who's right?
he's doing it.
To who?
He's taking away citizens' freaking rights to be here after they've been here for 15 years. He's meeting them in court while they're doing it the right way.
Are they
And
citizens?
kidnapping them.
Are they citizens?
Yeah.
They are citizens.
They are citizens.
If they are citizens, they have every right to be here legally. I will defend the right to be here. Okay? If they're not citizens, then they don't. And I will help
And
escort them
again,
back
how
to
do you
where
do
they
that
came from.
without due process, sir?
You say, are you here legally? Yes. No. Okay, show me if it's a work visa, show me your work visa.
ICE is not asking that question.
Yes, they
They're
are.
like, oh, you're
Yes, they
kind
are.
of brown. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you in my van.
You're kind of brown. Show me anywhere that we have on record of an ICE agent or anyone in leadership at the Border Patrol saying, you're brown, you don't have a right to be here. Show me that, and I'll condemn it. I'll be the first to condemn it. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't. What do you read the news? Do you watch anything?
I do, a
because
little
it
bit,
doesn't
but
seem like it.
hey,
Because
so
you didn't
Amanda,
know what RFK
go-
Jr. said about the autistic community either. It doesn't seem like you're very
So,
well informed,
Amanda,
sir.
Go back to your earlier question, because we're getting off topic here. I like what you said earlier about this idea of religion. Okay, so you want America to be an a-religious or non-religious place or government.
Just like the founding fathers did
Okay,
not want
well, they
religion
didn't-
in government.
Well, George Washington said it's
Okay,
impossible
you can
to
argue that all
rightly
you
govern.
want, sir, but there's literally a
Why?
clause of separation of church and state that you ignore.
No, nowhere in the Constitution does it say separation of church and state. Where does it say separation of church and state in the
What
Constitution?
are you fucking serious right now?
Yeah, show me. Google it. Where does it say separation of church and state in the Constitution?
I believe it says we'll make no rule.
No law. Make sure, yeah, no.
Promoting a religion.
Oh, no, that's not what it says. Establishing a religion or practicing the free exercise thereof.
The term is incorrect.
Right?
The
So,
term is incorrect,
but,
the thought is legitimate.
okay, but hold on a second. So who said that? It was Congress shall make no law. So the same guys who had their hand in writing the U.S. Constitution and said that, by the way, wrote the state constitutions. Do you agree with that? Like the first 13 state constitutions were written by our founding fathers, right? Can we agree on that? Do you know in the first 13 constitutions that you had to take make a declaration of faith in Jesus Christ to be able to run for office? So the same guys who wrote the Establishment Clause that you speak of also wrote state constitutions that did say you should be a Christian if you're going to uphold the moral laws of the Judeo-Christian ethic. Now, how in the world would they do that? That seems like they're being hypocritical. Or maybe they were saying, we don't want the federal government dealing with this. We're going to let the states decide what they should do.
States' rights.
Okay, perfect. I love that, Amanda. Great. States' rights. I love that. We can agree on that. Hey, yeah. See, the left loves to do this. They flip you off. They yell at you when they lose an argument, and they just call you fascist. They call you racist. They call you all the phobes. This is. Hey, why don't you come back here and debate me instead of just yelling at me? So, yeah, it is actually. So I'm here to hear your opinions. I'm here to give you my opinions. And if you want to go back and undermine the foundations of this nation, I'm going to fight back on that. I really will, because you're wrong. Our founding fathers put the Judeo-Christian ethic as the foundation of our nation. And if you remove the foundation, you remove everything that protects everybody's liberty. You're biting the hand that literally is feeding you liberty, and you don't even know it. That's why it's so ignorant. And so I'm going to push back on that. I'm ready for your question when you get up here. All right, John.
Yeah, my name is John Fordori, and I've lived here all my life. I'm a bricklayer. I don't really have a dog in this fight. Last year, the state of Indiana gave out $497 million in vouchers for private schools. It is estimated that in the next 5 years, that number will be 1 billion plus. Okay? 1 billion of our tax dollars going to private schools. How long can we keep doing this? Nebraska has repealed its private school system, its voucher system. Illinois doesn't have, there's about 4 or 5 states that have said, we're either cutting these vouchers in half or we got to get rid of them. They're breaking us. How long is this going to continue when most of us went to public schools and we did okay? And I don't have a problem with public schools. So how long are we going to keep putting money in two separate things? I'm paying for kids to go to private school. I'm paying for kids to go to public school.
Well, you're not paying for kids to go to private school. It's the tax dollars of that family that is being used to send their kids to private school. So it's not your tax dollars, it's their tax dollars being used to send their kids to a private school or a voucher school of some sort.
So you're saying that every family pays $7,000 in taxes every year?
Yes.
I don't believe
per
that.
kid. I mean, it's about $10,000, but I mean, it's $10,000 per child in the public school. So you'll get $7,500 in your voucher system. So there's still about 20% of your entire tax payment to the public school system is going to still go to the public schools, whether you have kids there or not. The only thing the voucher system does is says if you have kids and you would like to use your tax dollars to send them to the school of your choice, you have the freedom to do that. I think that's a good thing.
I would rather you give those people who want to send their kids to private schools a tax break of $7,000 so they can take their own money and put it towards tuition in a private school. That the government doesn't have anything to do with it, except for you give them a tax break at the end of the year.
Well, either way, it's going to account to the same thing. So whether they pay that or whether they get a tax break, either way, they are, I mean, that's still, and to your point earlier about, what was it, we said $500 million is what it was?
And $1 billion in the next 5 years.
It's going to be $1 billion. Do you know how much we spend in public education, or just in education in Indiana in general?
I have no idea.
Over 2 years, it's $22 billion out of about a $45 billion budget. So if $1 billion, now it's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not a lot of money,
Yeah,
but
we have a budget of $29 billion in this state.
45 billion.
One,
45.
what I looked up said 29.9.
Well, it's a biannual budget, and it's $45 billion is what we passed this past legislative session. Almost half of that, 48%, goes to education. Okay,
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you do. And I'm just telling you. So when you say $1 billion, okay, that sounds like a lot of money until you realize that is a very small slice of the pie when it comes to what we spend on education in Indiana. And then you add property taxes on top of that. That's another $7 billion of education. So we're almost $30 billion in funding education in Indiana. I think it's okay to take $1 billion of that and say, if there are some families in the state that want to send their kids to a school of their choice, that's going to help them. And you know who this benefits more than any other people group or demographic? It's the inner city marginalized groups that don't have the abilities to get their kids out of failing public schools into other public schools.
Believe that.
That's right. It is. It is.
But the other thing that I don't understand about charter schools is if I go to ISU, and I take one teaching class a semester, I'm a bricklayer of 43 years. If I take one teaching class at ISU, I can go to a charter school if they want to hire me and teach chemistry, as long as I'm taking one teaching class at ISU every semester. I'm a bricklayer and they let me teach chemistry? Come on.
Well, again, I'm not saying that we don't have standards or we shouldn't have standards, so I don't know what the standards are for chemistry, but I'm saying, but why are you?
As long as I'm pursuing a teaching degree,
okay,
I can teach anything I want in a private school.
John, do you think you have a right to tell a family that their kids aren't allowed to go to the school of their choice?
If they can afford it, they can go to any school they want, as long as their parents can pay for it.
But then, okay, then why are they paying? Why are their tax dollars paying public education when their kids are going to a private school? Isn't it fair that their tax dollars follow the kid? Why? You deserve their tax dollars?
I sent my children to St. Pat's.
Okay.
The government never gave me a dime. Never gave me a tax break.
Did you want that?
Yes.
You did want that.
And I still paid taxes so public school kids could ride the bus.
Absolutely.
But I paid out of my pocket for my kids to go to private school.
And did you want help to send your kids to that private school? Would it have been nice to have a...
No, I don't want help because I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I'll do it myself.
Okay, but your tax dollars are still going to the public school. You're saying...
I was okay with that.
And by the way, listen, if you want to write on your tax check, you can actually send more money to the public schools. If you're taking the vouchers, or you don't have to take the vouchers, you can pay for you can say, hey, I believe that I want all my money to stay in the public school system. Great. Awesome. You can. You don't have to take the vouchers.
The other thing is I believe that voucher schools are a business. And once that business doesn't make money, it will shut down. But a public school cannot shut down.
Yes, they can. We've actually just shut one down.
Right, but you're just taking the kids from
when it's
one
a failing
school,
it is.
Make it to another school.
Yeah, education is needed. We need to educate. My mom was a public school teacher. My grandpa was a public school principal. I believe in good education. I want good education. when you're spending almost half of our entire state budget and then another $7 billion of property taxes on top of that, and we have third graders that can't even read, don't you think there's probably a little bit of a pause that we need to be like, okay, because we're not doing very well in the test scores around the nation, right?
True education starts at home.
I agree.
Not at school,
You're not
at
going to
home.
find me. Yeah, you're not going to find
They
me
start
balking
at
at
home.
that. I agree.
Okay, so the other thing I'd like to ask you about is, they say there's an electricity shortage coming up in Indiana because of AI.
Yeah, the data centers.
I had a phone call from a guy in California. I don't know how he got my number. He called me up and he said, would you like to put solar panels on your roof? And I said, well, I never thought about it, but he goes, it'll save you money. And I said, okay, I don't know anything about it, but okay. And he started looking, and he was asking me all these questions. And he said, where do you live? He didn't even know. Okay. And I said, I live in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Kind of sounds like a scam, John. I'm
Now,
not going to lie.
wait a minute. And he said, I live in Terre Haute. He goes, give me your zip code. And he must have typed it into his computer. And he said, is Duke your provider? And I said, yeah. And he said, you can't have solar panels and hook it up to the grid. That's against the law in Indiana.
And I totally
Now, wait a minute,
think
you say-
that's...
They say there's an electricity shortage.
Yeah.
Well, if every house or every other house had solar panels,
I agree with that.
there may not be electric shortage.
I would absolutely support your right to put electric panels on your house.
And hook up
absolutely.
to the grid.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna, well, I don't know, hooking up to the grid, yeah, I mean, we could certainly talk about that, but I want you to have the ability to do solar on your house. But if you're,
I can't run it through my electrical wires without hooking up to the grid.
I think the problem that we have in Indiana is we have these monopolies in the districts of Indiana. So you have Duke in this area, you got Center Point down south, you've got NIPSCO up north, right? So you've got all of these different monopolies. The problem with monopolies, like our founders knew, is that it will stop good practices from happening. That's why that's a monopoly, and I will fight against that. I also think, going back to your earlier question, the public schools were a monopoly. The vouchers will bring free market practices into that. I want free market practices. I want competition, because competition will always produce the best outcome.
But the public schools are run by the government, whether it's
I agree.
local or state. So
But
how
it's
can
still
it be
a
a monopoly?
It's still a monopoly. It was a monopoly up until we started saying, hey, we're going to allow you to take those dollars and go somewhere else. And now it's forcing competition. So what the government's done is saying, we're going to bring competition into this monopoly. It doesn't matter if the government owns it. It was still a monopoly. In the same way, Duke is a monopoly. I don't like monopolies, and I want to see them. I want to see them break up.
I'd like to put them solar panels on my.
I would love
on my
for you to do
house
that.
And make my electric bill
Be great.
$10 a month and sell the rest
Absolutely.
of it to Duke.
There you
but
go.
I can't do it because it's against the law.
Well, that's great. We can look into why that is, and maybe we can bring some legislation, find some lawmakers that would carry that legislation. And you know what, John, I would support it. I would support that legislation. So,
You're never going to whip Duke, I can tell you.
well, hey, they never said I was going to be lieutenant governor, and yet here I am. So, there you go. David wasn't going to beat Goliath either, right?
If this goes over 2 minutes, tell me to sit down. I'd like to take 2 comments and ask.
You're good, yes.
He stops me.
She's letting people go for 10 minutes.
And I don't want to have a debate, I'd like to have a discussion.
That's great. I love it.
You said 2 things today that
Yes.
bother me just a little bit.
Okay.
And no offense to you, but
None taken.
the voters of Indiana did not vote for you. They vote for the government. 800 and some Republican delegates selected you. No offense. My wife has a PhD in education. I don't appreciate that being degraded as you did earlier.
PhD in education. How did I degrade that?
Like Dr. Jill Biden.
Well, she's
She's a
not
doctor.
She's not very bright.
PhD.
Yeah, she's not very smart.
Okay, now
people
my
people
now
get
my-
PhDs.
now my
People get
question,
PhDs all over
and
the
then
place.
You can just, then
Yeah.
you can comment how
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
In Indiana,
I could.
well, wait a minute. I believe, I'm not an attorney, I believe there's a statute of limitations if you steal a gallon of milk, as you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Should there be for being in the United States illegally?
No, I think absolutely not, because that will incentivize people to come here and hide. Now, I think it's the unloving thing to allow people to hide in a system, because they'll never be able to move upwards. I want people to come here legally. I want people to come through the front door so that we know they're here, so we can help them move up the ladder. It's really unloving to say, hey, you can break into our country, but you're going to have to live in the shadows, because the moment they come out of the shadows, there's going to be consequences. It doesn't, so I'm just saying it's unloving to say hide in the shadows. Now, I think why, if you want to be honest, why this is allowed is because, I've heard the Democrat mayor of LA said it the best. She said, who's going to watch your kids? Who's going to mow your lawn if we get rid of all the illegals? Same thing the Democrats said back in the cotton fields. Who's going to pick the cotton if we get rid of slavery? That was the Democrat mantra. And again, it's the Democrat mantra today. Who's going to do the jobs that we don't want? That is not a reason to allow people to break the law. That's not a reason to allow people to be here. And hey, listen, we can absolutely, that's the best thing you've said so far. If you want to change the law and allow for open borders, then change the law. Okay, well then fix the law. It is okay. I would love to have that conversation. I'd love to see you sell it to your legislator. They get it through the House, get it through the Senate, goes to the president's desk, sign it into law. Hey, listen, that would be great. It was, huh? It was? Okay, so then why didn't it get through? Oh, Trump, but he wasn't in office yet. Okay, I'm just saying, you can blame Trump for everything. It's just like, well, Trump, it's raining today. Trump, oh, Trump. Okay, but I'm just saying, listen, to your point, I believe it's the loving thing to do to help people climb the ladder. You can't do that if you don't know they're here. Super unloving to allow people to be here illegally, because it's not going to help them, it's going to hurt them. It's going to keep them down, and you're never actually going to be able to lift them up, which is what the American dream is. So come here legally. That's all we're saying.
Okay, question.
Okay, don't come here legally. All right.
I intended to come here tonight to talk to you about saving our water from carbon sequestration, possible leak. But as the evening has gone on, my question is still involving this, but I'm struck by how much everybody seems to want to talk about how good we all are. Like, we're good from moral standards, we're good from religion, what makes us good, what makes us bad. That's probably a discussion for another day for a lot of us, but we don't have the luxury of thinking about all these other things that are important to us, like education, like that we are 48th in healthcare, like we are 50th in environment, because we are so worried that people are going to pour waste products 2 miles deep under a whole half of our county. And it's 10 miles from where we're sitting right now. If the leak happened right now, our law enforcement, our firefighters, everybody would be ill-equipped to help us, because nobody seems to be paying attention. And what if this really does happen? So see, this is why all of us, this is up here, and the whole town should have it right here. It should be uppermost in all of our minds. And so that's what's funny to me about talking about morals, because you didn't do it, you didn't vote for it. I'm not blaming you, and I don't know if you can help us, but I'm appealing to you, to the better angels in Indianapolis, to the better angels in this room. Help us, because this was passed by almost the complete legislature. Mr. Beckwith, how much attention were they paying? Were they sold a bill of goods? We are hearing a lot of remorse from these people. It's very hard for people in politics to say, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we need to revisit this. We need somebody like you. Although you may think that you're not better than us, we don't have your power. We don't have your voice. And people like Alan Morrison, who used to be in our legislature, actually wrote this bill, and then now are our director of our DNR, Department of Natural Resources. People don't even know what the DNR is. I'm standing here with Protect the Aquifer. Do we get more of a natural resource than our water? Do we get more of a natural resource than these people sitting here that are farmers, that are landowners? They're great resources. They matter. Their heritage matters. All of these things matter, but it didn't matter to our legislature. And it doesn't seem to have mattered to Governor Holcomb at the time. So I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart, I know you have mentioned the word moral many times. Let's have some morals. Let's not pass a bill for a private company and then go to work for them or go to work for somehow a person in that industry. You know how it is often referred to as pay to play. I'm a lot older than you. That term may not be familiar to you.
No, I know. Yeah.
Okay. We all know this. We all know there's corruption. Maybe these people don't have a religion. Maybe they do. But you can't go by what people say. They can hold a Bible up. They can hold it up upside down. We know what kind of people we're dealing with here because they sold out the citizens of Vigo County and Vermilion County, just right next to us. You know, it's close to their elementary school too. And for heaven's sake, for the creation's sake, whatever you want to call on for your spirituality or your religion, do we not care about our children right by our elementary schools? Who would even suggest that that is okay? I'll tell you who. Our state legislature, our governors, now 2 of them, who took campaign contributions. I hope you didn't take any from them.
It was all small donors, individuals, families. It was very few corporates. And as far as this goes, no, there has been no campaign contributions from carbon sequestration companies, energy companies, things like that. So they tend not to like me a whole lot. And so, and it's because I said it earlier, I don't have a problem with a private company coming to Vigo County saying, hey, we want to create ammonia, we want to create hydrogens, things like that. We need that. Those are things that we need for our crops. But when you're saying we're going to do something that totally changes how the world was created, and we're going to try to, in our own virtue and our own wisdom, I'm using air quotes there, we're going to instead of putting the CO2 back into the atmosphere, we're going to do something that is unnatural, and that's just putting it down in the ground. I'm against that. I think that's unwise. I don't think that's gonna. We don't know what the impact's going to be over the long course of the next 50 years, and I know that CO2 helps our plants. It helps our crops. This is the way it was designed. And by the way I would, if I'm in your guys' shoes right now, you guys are in a really, I think, cool window of opportunity here because the Trump administration just came out and they said CO2 is not a greenhouse gas, right? They just made that statement in the EPA. Okay, so if it's not a greenhouse gas, why are we incentivizing using tax dollars to pump it into the ground, right? Just put it back in the atmosphere. Doesn't cost any money to do that, right? So put it back in the atmosphere where it belongs, in my opinion, and do that. And so if you kind of run on that strategy, what that does is it takes away the tax dollars that are incentivizing projects like this on Green New Deal nonsense science, right? So to me, that's the strategy that you need to go. Now, again, if they still want to come here and Wabash Valley Resources then still say, hey, we can still do it. We don't need the tax dollars, and we're not going to do carbon sequestration, because we recognize that the EPA doesn't recognize CO2 as a pollutant anymore. So we're just going to do the ammonia hydrogen, but we're just going to put the CO2 back in the atmosphere. I'm good with that. I think that's actually a good, I want ammonia to be, I don't want to have to go to another nation to buy our ammonia and ship it into the United States. I want to be a producer right here. That's why I think Trump's doing a great job. He's starting to talk producing here, manufacture here, bring jobs here. And so I'm not somebody that's just going to say, hey, big corporate company coming into Vigo County, bad for the county. No, I'm going to say, hey, what are they offering the county? Maybe it might be good for the residents. And so, but if you don't want it, again, I'm going to protect and defend your local control. You know, get with your commissioners, get with your council, say, hey, we don't really want this, right? And get them to be the ones to say, okay, we're going to put a stop to this because it's not right. I'm certainly going to use my bully pulpit. What happened down in Vanderburgh County just a few weeks ago, I went down, talked to about 10 farmers, families that own farmland down there. They were trying to stop this hostile takeover of their farmland for a solar company. I just used my platform. I used my social media presence, and we started highlighting, hey, we're going to lose all this beautiful farmland. And it really threw a wrench into that project. And even when the president and the commissioners came out and he said, hey, we recognize that maybe this isn't the way to go. And so that was a big win for these farmers down there. I'm more than happy to do the same here, to highlight what's going on, to say, hey, we don't need to do this. This is nonsense science. It doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't be spending tax dollars on pumping CO2 into the ground. Let's talk about the Wabash Valley Resource Project, but let's do it in a way that is actually going to benefit us in the long run. So that's where I'm at on it, and that's what I commit to you to do the same. I'll do the same thing. Yeah.
And I'm pleased that you want to make that commitment, and it needs to be made to the whole state, because there are other communities that are suffering just like we are, and there are other projects where the people haven't even been notified yet that it's coming to their town. It's despicable. There's no way that we should be, under these kind of circumstances, bowing down for these people to make a profit. This would never go on in any other industry that I can think of.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you kind of highlighted that they're trying to get this through under the cover of darkness. Anytime someone's pushing something under the cover of darkness, most likely it's probably not a good thing, or most likely they know they don't have the general consensus of the people to do it. And so that's why the LEAP project went off the rails up in Boone County and Tippecanoe County. You can argue, well, the LEAP project's going to be good. Okay, fine. Maybe it is going to be good. But the problem I had with it is they slammed it down the throats of that community, and they didn't even know, the community didn't even know about it until it was too late. That's the problem I had. If it was going to be good, then sell it. Sell it to the people, and they'll buy it because it's a good thing. You all are smart people. You know what's good for your community, and that's all I'm asking for these corporations and for the government to do is sell it to the people, make the case why this is going to benefit Vigo County, and you'll be fine. And so, yeah.
I went to several meetings in the Purdue Lafayette area about LEAP, and there was a definite crossover between carbon sequestration, because the major problem that people see is our aquifer, our water. We're nothing without it. It will bankrupt this state. Yeah. Any of these other projects we're talking about will not have any roots at all, because we're going to be fighting to survive. That sounds extremist, but if somebody doesn't ring the bell now, how far down the road do we let this get?
That's great. So I appreciate y'all. I mean, I appreciate every person wearing a red shirt in here, and maybe some others. I appreciate that you're ringing the bell, right?
Thank you.
This is what it's all about. This is how it's your government. You know, make your voices heard, and that's why I'm here. I echo your concerns. I think I'm aligned with where you stand. It sounds like we are, and I'll continue to echo the same alarms that I have. And again, I will adamantly oppose any hostile takeover under the cover of darkness. Like to me, that's a big time deal breaker.
So earlier when you directed people from our group to get with your staff, you're going to help us be a watchdog for what they're doing with this pore space.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, how are you?
Hi. Thank you for coming and putting up with us.
Hey, I love it. You guys have been great. You've been a great crowd. Honestly, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate everybody in the room.
I lived here for 80 years. I done my whole house, everything the hard way. I live over by the state line. Now you talk about windmills or solar panels. They're putting one right across the state line there, and it's going to Canada. But I don't want to talk about that. This is not going to happen. They offered me a lot of money for my property. I got my mineral rights, and I told them there's no way they will come out there. Last time I was in here, they pushed the panic button on me, because I told them just what I'm going to tell you right now. It's not coming out here. We're all in this, and I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to stop it. I don't know these people in here, but I'm all for them. I'm going to keep their water the way it is. And I was a boilermaker, pipe fitter my whole life. I welded on all the pipe. I know all about high pressure pipe. You cannot take pipe and run 2,100 pound pressure in it out there and deadhead it down in the ground. It's not going to happen. Plus, you got to test that pipe 1.5 times. That's over 3,000 pounds pressure. These people done nothing but lie to us from day one. Now, you said a couple things that I want to talk about. First, you said you're going to go to DNR. That's a waste of time. Bronze put Morrison in down there, and he put Ford in. I got in Ford's face when we had the first meeting. He resigned. Now, this is bad down there. 3 years and I found out about this. I went down there and they were all for us DNR. Said that's not going to happen. Well, they pulled him out. They put the yes man in there. That's sad. Now, you said something else. You're for the people, and I appreciate that. And as long as you're for the people, you're going to stay in office for a very long time. Now, one thing I want you to do for us, I know you're busy. When you get time, I'd like for you to go through our meetings we've had and watch that video. You will not believe it. This company has done nothing but lie every time they go to one of our meetings or we're around them. Now, I worked there at that plant. I worked there at that plant before I retired. I told my buddy I was with, I'm real safety minded. I go around, I see the bad points. They had a leak right there, leaking bad water. My friend and I went and stopped that leak. They said it couldn't be fixed for a couple of months. We fixed it that day. But anyway, when I retired, they had an explosion. I told my buddy, I said, now this place is going to blow up. 2 months later, it blew up. They killed 2 Boilermaker friends of mine. Pipe fitters were one little below. I'm 6 miles to the east where they want to bury that crap. I thought it was jets coming over. I was out in the barn working. I went outside and I seen the debris coming through the air. Terre Haute was lucky that the wind was real hard and it come out of the east and blew it that way instead of that way. But anyway,
I appreciate the perspective. I mean, again, like I told the previous lady, I'm with you. I mean, I'm going to fight to, yep. So thank you for what you're doing and keep fighting. You know, it's Hoosiers like you that give me hope because you're passionate. You believe, you know why you believe what you believe, and you're willing to defend it. And I think that's great.
I was in the service.
Yes, you did.
And I will do that till I die.
I love it.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
these people, but I will protect them.
Yeah, thank you.
And my group will. You know, you need to look at those videos, though. And
do you have the link to that? Could you get it to me? Can you get it to Anthony? Thank you.
You will
Appreciate
be
it.
shocked.
We're giving Anthony a ton of stuff to do. It's a lot of homework.
Yeah, you are, and I'm your government affairs person.
I know,
Really?
but you're holding the microphone, so
You'll be shocked when you see that video and you listen to that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, in response to your response to Ms. Rosemarie,
Okay.
I would just suggest that, I know you were talking about just letting the ammonia production continue. I think you might want to take a look at the environmental impacts that causes, because it is not the greatest. Anyway, that's not what I'm up here for,
Okay,
just a
okay,
side note.
Okay.
It happened while I was
I was
in
like, that's an
line.
easy one. That's an easy one. I was like, oh, this is great. All right.
So, my questions are 2. First of all, when I was in college, I went to Guatemala. And as I was there, it was a college trip, I was going all around. We went to the consulate, the American consulate, and we had learned about the ways that immigrants can come into the U.S. Through either having a job lined up or through having a family member sponsor them. But when I was in the villages with the average Guatemalan citizen, they don't have relatives here legally, and they don't have an education system that would produce the type of employee that someone will sponsor. And I asked them, how can an average Guatemalan citizen come here? And they said they cannot. It might behoove you to learn a little bit more about the average citizen of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and if they can or cannot come legally. A person coming from Guatemala that is here illegally, you're saying that they should come here legally, but the consulate says they cannot. So that is not an option available. But my question in reply to your statement about immigrants being taken advantage of by employers here, that is because we don't have any laws finding them or making it uncomfortable, unpleasant for a business to do that. What will your office do to penalize employers who do that.
Advocate for penalties for employers who do that. So
Are you working on that now?
I've been very active in that. I've said to lawmakers, we need to have teeth in those penalties. So again, I don't care if you're the employer incentivizing illegal activity. Let's go back to the basics of this whole argument. You're incentivizing illegal activity. In any other illegal activity that's being incentivized or allowed to happen in your place of your establishment, the place of employment, we would hold the employer liable, would we not? So why is this any different? Well, it's different because people who are living in their ivory towers have said, well, we really like to have slaves, and we can't do it legally, so how about we just bring these people in who we can get them to work at an unfair wage, and we can get them to do all the stuff we don't want to do. Well, that's modern day slavery is what it is. Do you agree with that?
I do agree.
Yeah, so we need to stop that, and that's why I think what this administration is doing is they're going after employers too. They are going after they've raided multiple businesses that have been doing that, have they not?
Raiding businesses doesn't punish the employers. It punishes the people picked up in the ICE vans.
Well, I think it also punishes employers, and I think we could actually make sure that they get fined or they get shut down. I think there's other things we can do. Yes, I'm advocating for that, absolutely. But go back to what you said earlier with Guatemala, and they can't get here. You're acting like there's some sort of human right that should allow people of the world to be able to get here.
Is that what I said?
Well, no, I'm just saying, okay, they can't get here. I'm sorry about that. Okay, but they don't have a right to come here. Okay, they can claim asylum. That's a legal way to come here. I'm okay with legal ways to come here. But they don't have a right to just be here. They have to go through a process. When somebody in Guatemala says, well, we can't get to America, sorry. Like, I mean, my heart breaks for Guatemala, but they need to do what we did, which is make sure that they build a good, strong government that protects liberty and freedom. We can't allow the whole world to come into our house, just in the same way that you lock your doors at night, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you do that? Because you don't want the whole neighborhood coming into your house and taking your food or doing things to you that may not be good things to do. It's the exact same thing with America. Why is it that somehow we say, okay, we lock our doors, we protect our own little home space, but yet when it comes to America, we just say, everyone can come, we'll let the whole world come. It's absolute hypocrisy. It's absolute hypocrisy. And the world doesn't have a right to come here. Now, do I think we should be a good neighbor? Absolutely. Do I want to be a good neighbor to Guatemala? Absolutely. How can we help Guatemala? But we have to first make sure that we're strong, we're taken care of, our children have what they need to succeed. And then we can go and help the nations of the world. But to open up our borders and say, well, everyone has a right to be here, everyone can just come, I think that's incredibly foolish, and it's going to hurt us in the long run, and we won't be able to be a good neighbor to the world. So, is that it? Is that the last question?
That's your last question.
Man, give yourselves a hand. That was pretty.
That's all about Greg.
Is that Greg? Oh, Greg wasn't letting anybody come up anymore. He is our bouncer. That's what it is. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Seriously, if there's anything else that you want to address, I'll stick around for a bit. You can talk to me offline. Talk to Anthony, Christy, Greg. We got our comms team here. If you need any more help on issues at the state level, let us know. We're here to help. And appreciate all of you. Thank you for coming out. They want to bring yeah, I'm not for that either. Nice to see you. Yes, thank you for being here.